Hi everyone, my name is Kelly. I want to tell you about my terrible stepmother, Laura. I'll call her Laura because she never wanted to be my mother. When my dad, Brian, introduced me to her, she told me, "I don't want you thinking I'm your mother. You're just my husband's daughter, nothing else. You're a teenager, so don't expect me to do anything for you." I replied, "That's okay, Laura. I can take care of myself. I just want my dad to be happy. I won't get in the way." She snapped back, "You're already in the way, you little witch. Don't try to be smart with me. I know how to handle worthless teens like you. Once you turn 19, I'll make sure you're out of our lives so I can have Brian all to myself." The talk got worse, with Laura saying awful things about me and my late mom. My dad was a widower, and my mom died when I was 8. I missed her a lot, and it took Dad a long time to date again. That's why I never told him about Laura's nasty words and behavior, which was a big mistake. After she married Dad, she became a nightmare. Even Dad was surprised by her behavior. Laura always targeted me and tried to get me out of the house. She hated kids and didn't want me around, but she never told Dad that before they dated. When Dad refused to abandon me, she started harassing me. She would mess up her own food and blame me, saying, "Look at what your daughter did, Brian. She spoiled my cooking because I wouldn't cook for her. She's going to poison me one day." Dad asked, "Kelly, do you have an explanation for this?" I replied, "I swear, Dad, I don't know anything about this. I'm happy to cook for myself. I wasn't even home before you came back, and I bought takeout to eat in my room." "Oh God, she's lying now, Brian. I'm telling you, get rid of her before she kills me." This is just one example of what Laura has done for 5 years. This time, she blamed me for too much salt in her food, which she added herself. It was crazy, but Dad believed me because I had proof. Over the years, she did much more. She disconnected my phone, locked me out of the house for 6 hours, took my car keys on the day of an important test, and threw away my project that I spent a week on. Dad tried to make her understand that this wasn't okay, but she never listened. She would be nice for a few days and then do something terrible again. After a year of living with Laura, I got a job to pay for my own things. I didn't want her messing with my life anymore. Dad was upset, but I told him it was good for me to have my own money and not feel guilty. Laura, a stay-at-home wife, considered Dad's money her own, so she didn't want him spending too much on me, not even for basics. I tried to stay invisible so Laura would leave me alone, but she never did. She wanted to get rid of me, but she didn't know what was coming. The big drama happened a few weeks after my 19 birthdays. Laura was in a good mood, singing around the house because she thought she could finally kick me out. She didn't know I overheard her planning to ambush me. So when I came home from work and saw my stuff packed, I wasn't upset. I was amused. I said, "Hey Laura, why is my stuff packed? Are we going on vacation?" "Don't act so smart, Kelly. I hope you remember my words," she replied. "I told you that once you turned 19, I'd kick you out. Well, it's time for you to leave now. I even packed your stuff to make it easier for you. So, you want to kick me out of my house?" "Oh no, Kelly, this is my house. I don't have to keep you here anymore. I'll deal with Brian later, but you are definitely leaving." Laura had a smug look on her face, already planning what she'd do with my room. But like I said, not so fast, Laura. Karma is coming for you. I calmly took out some documents from my bag and handed them to her. She looked confused, so I said, "I think you need to look at these papers first, Laura. I've been meaning to give you this for a while. Your talk about eviction just reminded me. What are these papers? Why do I need to read them? Why don't you take a look and find out?" Laura sat down and started reading the papers. Her confusion turned to shock and then disbelief. She looked at me and then back at the papers. Finally, she got angry and said, "Is this an eviction notice in my name? What the hell, Kelly? What is the meaning of this? It means I want you out of my house in a month. You know, the usual thing an eviction notice means." You can't serve me eviction papers. You can't do that. This is my house, and I'm the only one who can kick people out. No, Laura, this is my house and has always been. My dad was just a caretaker until I turned 19. Now, it belongs to me. I recently completed the documentation process. No, that's impossible. Brian can't just give you this house. It's our marital asset, and he can't give it to you without consulting me. How is this a marital asset, Laura? Dad had this house before you were in the picture. I guess he didn't tell you, but this house actually belonged to my maternal grandparents. They left it to me and appointed Dad to hold it until I turned 19. No, 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 you must be lying. This can't be true. You're trying to scam me and kick me out of the house. Wait until your father hears about this. He'll kick you out instead. Laura then made the mistake of calling my father downstairs. She forgot that she never asked him if she could kick me out. Even if the house belonged to my father, she should have asked him first. She knew he would say no, so she tried to do it behind his back. In her frenzy, she overlooked this and involved Dad. I didn't mind. It worked out better for me. Dad came downstairs and said, "Whoa, calm down, Laura. Why are you yelling like that? What's wrong? Why wouldn't I be screaming? Your daughter is making wild claims again. She's saying this house belongs to her and that she's kicking me out." Dad looked at me and said, "Kelly, what's going on? I need to know the truth." My dad is a good man who knows Laura can be difficult, so he always listens to both sides. This is something Laura hated because she wanted Dad to always take her side, no matter what. They fought about this many times, but Dad wanted to be fair to both of us, so he asked for my side too. I said, "Laura called me down and told me she was kicking me out. She said I couldn't stay in her house anymore. I knew she was planning this because I overheard her talking on the phone. So I served her an eviction notice instead." Dad turned to Laura and said, "What the hell, Laura? Who gave you permission to try and kick my daughter out? You never discussed this with me. Why am I just hearing about this now?" Laura realized she had messed up. Overwhelmed by the eviction notice, she forgot about being caught. I saw her panic before she turned hostile and defensive as usual. She said, "Your daughter is already an adult, Brian. We let her stay in the house rent-free for a month already. Most parents kick their kids out when they turn 19. Kelly needs to learn to live on her own and be responsible." "That's for me to decide, Laura. You were not and never were her parent. You didn't contribute anything for Kelly. How did you think it was okay to decide when to kick her out? You've been unfair, Brian. I've put up with your favoritism for years because Kelly was a teenager, but now she needs to go. I won't let her stay in my house anymore." "Who said this is your house? What deed shows your name on it?" "Well, it's your place, so I have equal rights to it since I'm your wife. This is my house too. I won't allow Kelly here anymore. She needs to go. This is not my house, and even if it was, you have no right to it. This is Kelly's house and her name is on it." Laura went pale when she heard that. She didn't expect my dad to back me up and say the house belonged to me. She lived in a fantasy where everything was hers just because she said so. Hearing otherwise was shocking for her. She began to cry and said, "Why would you say such a thing, Brian?" "Because the house belongs to Kelly. I'm just speaking the truth. You gave Kelly your house without consulting me. How could you do this, Brian? I'm your wife. You should have discussed this with me. I'm not okay with this. You had no problem going behind my back and trying to kick my daughter out. Why can't I do the same, Laura?" And there was nothing to discuss. This house was always supposed to be Kelly's. I was just the trustee who took care of it until she turned 19. The house was transferred to her name recently. Laura finally understood we were telling the truth. Dad even offered to show her the papers as proof. She was in too much shock to say anything coherent. She said, "You deceived me, Brian. I thought the house was yours. You lied to me. This is not fair." "I never lied to you, Laura. You never asked whose house this was when we got married. We signed a prenup saying our personal assets would remain personal. Oh my God, this can't be true. You should have told me, Brian. Now Kelly is throwing us out. Look at how ungrateful your daughter is. Brian, I am not throwing my dad out, Laura. That's just for you. You're the one who won't get to live in my house anymore. I would have considered letting you stay, but after you tried to kick me out, I changed my mind. You're going to leave. If you kick me out, your dad will follow. We're a couple. He won't abandon his wife. Now it was my father's turn to laugh. He had already made plans that I knew about, but he was unsure whether to go through with them. Today's events made his decision easier. He said, "Actually, no, I'm not following you, Laura. I will stay here and take care of my daughter. I've been on the fence about divorce for a while, and what you tried to do today sealed the deal. I will be filing tomorrow. Be ready for it." Wait, what? Are you going to divorce me? You want to leave me over your daughter? You can't do that. Yes, I can, Laura. Did you think I would forgive you for tormenting my daughter for 4 years? I thought you might change, and I've been patient, but now I know you will continue to be toxic. I don't want someone like you in my life or my daughter's. Laura took a step back as if physically hurt. She never expected a divorce so soon. My dad is usually a quiet man who doesn't do anything drastic. This was unlike him. He was mad, and it showed on his face. He didn't shout, but his tone made it clear he was very angry, making Laura even more anxious. She started to argue with my dad, and I chose to leave and go to my room. Dad and Laura fought for an hour, with Laura shouting and crying while my father explained his reasons calmly. After the fight, Dad came to my room. He seemed a little upset and didn't meet my eyes. He sat down and said, "Kelly, I know I need to apologize to you. I'm sorry, dear. I should have protected you better from Laura. I thought being fair and avoiding fights would help, but I was wrong and made things worse for you. You don't have to apologize, Dad. I know you loved Laura, and she wasn't like this when you married her. People change, and sometimes it takes time to see it. Wow, you've grown up a lot. I wish I had done things differently. I brought a mad woman into our lives. Well, what's done is done. I forgive you, Dad. You really tried your best, and I'm not complaining. Do you want to divorce Laura? I won't be mad if you don't. I understand. Girl, I'm not living with that mad woman anymore. I'm done. Her true face shocked me too much. I don't want her in my life anymore. I saw this coming, which is why I made the prenup. I worried she'd mess up your future and cause money troubles, so I thought it was the best way. See, you did think about me. You deserve to be happy, Dad. If Laura means nothing to you anymore, it's best you separate. I spent a lot of time reassuring my dad that he wasn't a bad parent. In fact, he did a lot for me, and I needed to make him believe that too. I'm not going to lie. I was super happy that my dad was finally getting rid of Laura. She wasn't right for him and had no business staying married to him after everything she did. Our talk went well, and Dad went to sleep in the guest room that night. I finally felt peaceful knowing Laura would soon be out of our lives for good. I hoped she would remember this lesson for the rest of her life. The real surprise came the next morning when I found Laura trying too hard to seem loving and caring. She was in the kitchen making me breakfast and acting like I was the best person in her life. Even Dad was giving her a confused look. After breakfast, I said, "Thanks for breakfast, Laura, but you don't have to do this anymore. I can make my own, like I have for the last 5 years. There's no need for sudden changes." That's nonsense, Kelly. I'm happy to do this for you. Having our meals together can bring us closer as a family. What's the need for that? We won't be a family anymore soon. You should have done this years ago. It's too late now. Oh, come on, Brian. Don't be so hard on me. I'm trying. I can make this work. I'll start being a better parent to Kelly. We'll be the best mother-daughter duo ever, right, Kelly? I knew Laura was trying to save herself. She'd have come up with a plan overnight. Dad didn't trust her either and just looked a little amused. With Laura waiting for my reply, I said, I don't think so, Laura. First, I'm 19 and don't need a new parent. I pay my own bills and will be off to college soon. Second, you are not, and never will be, my mother. That word doesn't suit you at all. Kelly, I'm sorry for being mean to you in the past. You need to give people a chance. We can be a happy family if you give me a chance, and it will help my marriage too. Dad says you have a few months left in this marriage. If you're trying to stay in this house, it won't work. I'm kicking you out anyway, and Dad is divorcing you. You've already done the damage, Laura. There's no point in acting innocent and sorry. I know you better than that. Laura saw her new plan wasn't working. I guess Laura didn't have anything else to use against us. She couldn't threaten to ruin Dad financially because of the prenup she signed. So her only option was to beg and cry. She started crying hysterically, begging me not to kick her out. She also pleaded with me to ask Dad to give her another chance. Then she turned to Dad, begging him to be more forgiving. Our entire day was filled with Laura begging and pleading for mercy. Since Dad and I were both off work that day, we had to endure her theatrics. Dad did leave for a while to contact the lawyer and file for divorce. Within a week, Laura received the divorce papers. After she got the papers, Laura stopped begging and crying. Dad and I told her she needed to get a job if she wanted a place to live and a lawyer for her divorce. Laura thought she could convince us to give her another chance, but that didn't happen. When the month was up, she was promptly kicked out. She caused some trouble when we told her to leave, but after Dad threatened her with more legal action, she left sobbing. Laura had no choice but to move in with a friend, since her own family couldn't stand her anymore. As she left, she took the negativity with her, and the house finally felt like home. It was such a relief to be rid of her toxic presence. In the weeks following Laura's departure, Dad and I worked on repairing our relationship and making the house a warm, welcoming place again. We redecorated the rooms, bringing in new furniture and adding personal touches that made the house feel truly ours. We also spent more time together, enjoying meals, watching movies, and talking about our future plans. It was a healing process for both of us, and we grew closer than ever before. Dad continued with the divorce proceedings, making sure everything was handled properly. He was determined to protect our home and ensure Laura could never cause us trouble again. Laura tried a few more times to contact Dad, hoping to sway him, but he stood firm. He was done with her manipulations and wanted to move forward with his life. I focused on my studies and preparations for college. With Laura gone, I could finally concentrate on my future without constant stress and conflict. Dad was incredibly supportive, helping me with college applications and cheering me on every step of the way. His belief in me boosted my confidence, and I knew I could achieve my dreams with him by my side. A few months after Laura left, Dad met someone new. Her name was Emma, and she was kind, caring, and genuine. Unlike Laura, she embraced me with open arms and treated me like family from the start. Emma and Dad's relationship blossomed naturally, without the tension and deceit that had plagued his marriage to Laura. As Dad and Emma grew closer, I could see the positive impact she had on him. He was happier, more relaxed, and full of hope for the future. Emma quickly became an important part of our lives, bringing joy and warmth to our home. She understood the pain we had gone through and was patient and understanding, never pushing too hard or making us feel uncomfortable. Seeing Dad happy and in love with someone who truly cared for him made me feel at peace. It was a stark contrast to the years of turmoil we had endured with Laura. Emma's presence brought stability and harmony, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of security and contentment. The following year, I left for college, excited about the new chapter in my life. Dad and Emma supported me every step of the way, visiting often and staying in touch. Their encouragement and love were a constant source of strength for me, helping me navigate the challenges of college life. It's been more than 3 years since Laura left, and our lives have changed for the better. Dad and Emma are now happily married, and I have thrived in college, pursuing my dreams with confidence and determination. Our home is a place of love, laughter, and support, a far cry from the hostile environment Laura had created. Looking back, I realize how much stronger we have become as a family. We faced adversity and came out on the other side, more united and resilient. Laura's departure was the best thing that could have happened to us, and I am grateful every day for the peace and happiness we now enjoy. I am now in college, which is close to home. Dad has successfully divorced Laura and is back to dating. He says he isn't looking to settle down again, but just wants some company sometimes. As for Laura, the last I heard, she moved into a flat with several roommates and is struggling to make ends meet. Since she doesn't have many qualifications, she's working a minimum wage job and just getting by. I saw her from afar at a grocery store. She looked like she had aged 11 years. Karma caught up with her, and hopefully, she learned a lesson never to try something like this again.